All right, welcome back inside the EQC studio. Now, joining me, very happy to talk to this guy. By the way, I have never met him in person yet. I meant to do it last week, but joining me inside the EQC studio is one of the newest Seattle Mariners, Ryan Bliss. Ryan, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm glad to be here.
Dude, I appreciate it, man. And like I said, I meant to get down into the clubhouse. Usually, if we have new players, or I'm going to ask someone to come on my show, I'll get down, get to introduce myself, so I'm just not some random reaching out to you.
Yeah.
But I did go through the right channels, man. I went through the Mariners PR, Alex Mayer. So I appreciate you on short notice too coming on, man.
Of course. I'm glad to be here.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, and I did, by the way, too. I hate to do this, but I did reach out to you on Instagram as well in the direct messages.
That's all. That's the new era. That's the new era now.
It is. Do you have a lot of people like DMing you? Like, since you got to the big leagues, like the last week, have you just gotten like random people sending you DMs on
Oh,
Instagram?
100%. Yeah, I have all my DM requests are pretty full, but it's still pretty cool to see that.
So what do you get? Is it people just basically congratulating you, or is it like, hey man, like can you sign? What are they asking for you? Asking
No,
for on DM?
it's pretty much just a bunch of congratulations. Nothing crazy. Everything I've seen has just been congratulations on the call up or like you're a stud or something like that. So it's been all good words. So I'm glad to see that for now.
So, see, I first of all, when I played, I never had to deal with that, right? I will say this: Twitter was became big. I was one of the first players ever to be on Twitter. This is how old I feel. But I remember, there just wasn't a thing. But now, like when I talk to players, they're like, oh man, like all of a sudden you start getting these random messages.
Yeah, it's like you definitely have to. It's definitely
Oh
a new
yeah,
era of sports, basically with the
oh
internet and
yeah.
stuff. So it's crazy.
Now, speaking of social media, and I want to get to the bottom of this because I still haven't gotten the explanation just yet. The Mariners put out this really cool photo, man. It was so cool. It's basically you standing on the field, and this is when you got called up, right?
Yes, they're on
Okay,
debut.
so you get called up. They take this really nice photo, and there's a little caption tweet in there which basically reads, and this is in 2014, right? So I want to get to the bottom of this. It's at the Mariners, so you're adding them. So you're basically writing them. I don't know if you're replying or what. I'm going to ask you in a second. But at Mariners, at MLB. Yeah, one day my dream, it says, or my dream one day. I can't remember. But what did that come from? What were you writing to the Mariners about in 2014?
Yeah, it's crazy that a tweet came back. It was 2014. That was my freshman year of high school. Freshman year of high school, I think I was just at home. And around that time is when I started really watching MLB and really understanding the game and really, seeing everything. So I think I saw T-Mobile and I replied to the Mariners saying I really love T-Mobile. It was a beautiful stadium. It still is a beautiful stadium. And I just replied to the Mariners, I want to play there one day. This is my dream to play at a field like this or play in T-Mobile Park. And 10 years later,
That's
10 years later, I made my debut in T-Mobile Park. It's pretty cool.
That's wild. And the Mariners dug up that tweet, right? Did that come from them? Or?
Yeah, I forgot I tweeted that. I
Wow.
100% forgot I tweeted that. I mean, that was like I said 10 years ago. I probably just got Twitter and I was trying to figure out how to do it and I lucked it. So I mean, it's crazy that it came back around.
Yeah, no, it's wild. I saw that and I was like, hold on a sec, because when I first saw that photo, like the Mariners, like the welcome to the big leagues, Ryan
hmm
Bliss, and the whole thing, and I'm looking at that, and then I didn't look at it closely enough. I'm like, oh yeah, like he's just writing this tweet,
hmm
no big deal. And I was like, hold on a minute, that's 2014.
2014, 10
And the
years
whole
ago.
time, and I'm trying to read, I'm trying to like dig. This is the last couple of days. I was trying to dig to say, okay, what was the connection there? But be honest, dude. Now, be honest to all the Mariner fans. Come clean. How many of the 30 teams did you at saying, hey, man, this is where I want to play when you're 14 years old?
I don't, you know what? I can't even answer that because I don't even remember. I didn't even know I tweeted that at the time. So
Right.
it may have just been the Mariners. I'm just gonna go with that.
Gotcha. Okay. Who were you when you were 14 years old? Who were you guys? Like, who did you look up to? Who were the guys that you watch playing? You're like, oh, man, I want to be just like them.
2014. I mean, that was around the time I think, I was watching. I remember watching Derek Jeter. Just watching him play the game. I think that was towards the end. Derek Jeter, Lindor was coming up. I was watching him a lot. So guys like that, just paying attention to, like I said, that was really when I first started getting into really diving into how guys look and comparing myself to these guys. So it was pretty cool.
Is it, does it blow your mind that you mentioned Francisco Lindor? Does it blow your mind that you potentially could be playing against him?
Yes, it still does every day. I think it's still bizarre when I'm on the field. Just I'm sitting there literally across the dugout from all these names. From the
Wow.
Altuves and the Alvarez. It's pretty cool knowing I'm there, and it gives you a sense of confidence. Like you could do this. You're right here with them. Instead of watching them on TV, you're playing against them. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, sometimes I talk to some players and I ask the same question throughout the years. Like even when I was playing, I'd get that from teammates or like now that doing this, and I'll say something like oh hey man, like when I was a kid, I really looked up to that guy. Wow, like now I'm on the same field. Like oh yeah, like they kind of play it off. Dude, it never ceases to ever be normal to me. Like I remember looking at this Instagram post, and I grew up in the '90s, man. I'm way older than you, obviously, but I remember they had like the 1990, I think it was the '94 All-Star game, and these dudes are coming out, and I'm like, man, I've played against 3 of these dudes. I remember them as a kid. It's wild, dude. Like
it's wild when you think about it. I don't think you ever can. I mean, people say don't get starstruck, don't look at the name. I don't think that's the case. I think it's more it gives you like a sense of this is cool. Yeah. This is cool to be on the same field as all the other guys.
For sure, man. And I think too, it kind of what's the point of doing it too if you're not doing something which is like that in a sense where like it does blow your mind. You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
I don't want to spend my time if I'm the top step of the dugout looking over like you said across the other side of the field. I don't want to sit there and go, oh yeah, no, it's not a big deal. No. I want to be like, man, no, this is freaking
That
awesome.
is cool. There's a fine line in between, competing and not, looking at the names on the jerseys and still looking at the names of the jerseys. So like once you balance that, it's such a cool experience, and it's one thing that makes the big leagues cool.
Yeah, for sure. Now, speaking of there's an at-bat last week, and I'm bringing this at-bat up because I was watching, man. I was blown away. I was super impressed. Number one, didn't get the bunt down, right? Now, I know it's friggin' way harder than people think.
Yep.
And look, I was a pitcher. I pitched in the National League as well, dude. I remember Kirk Gibson was my manager with the D-backs, and this is back when pitchers, this is way before your time. I feel like a dinosaur when I'm talking about this. But back when pitchers had to get up there and lay a bunt down, right? Like because they're just that weak little end of the lineup. Like why is the pitcher in the line? Anyway, I'm facing it was a Tim Hudson just on turbo sinkers. I couldn't get the bunt down. I come back to the dugout and I just got destroyed by Kirk Gibson. That was my last ever at bat in the big leagues. I'll never forget it. So I know how hard it is. But you're facing Ryan Presley, right? Who is he's an established, been around forever, just knows how to get you out. Now, I guarantee you've faced dudes who throw 100 and, with filth sliders and everything else. But when you're on that stage and all of a sudden you're in a tight spot, you're playing against the Houston Astros. Take me back to that at bat, dude. So you're coming up, you basically, you get the sign you're going to have to bunt, right? And then you don't get it down. So at that point, are you thinking to yourself, oh man, this is like embarrassing? Or what are you thinking at that point?
Yeah, I remember Haniger, I think ripped a double right before that. So I kind of knew walking into, okay, I got to get this runner over. It's going to probably be the bunt sign. Let's just do your job. So I was comfortable. I didn't get the bunts down. I was comfortable with them. But I think when I got to 0-2, I kind of stepped back. I was like, all right, whatever just happened, it just happened. You've been in 0-2 counts before. Let's just get this job done. Whatever that looks like, let's just get this job done. And Presley's a established reliever, World Series champ. So like I've seen him pitch before. I know that he's what he's capable. I would just say, hey, get something up, get something close, get this runner over. I actually know the runner was at third, so get something close and get this runner in. And I just really was like, you got to stick to your approach. You have to. Don't try to do too much. Get this job done, and didn't get nothing up, so I just laid off.
Did it still, if you go back to that at bat, does it still like kind of linger in your mind, like that were you still sort of anchoring on the fact that you didn't get the bunt down at that point, or are you just kind of stepping out saying, look, I'm in the big leagues, I'm looking across the dugout like we just talked about, whatever. Let's just recognize a pitch. Like, at what point does Ryan Bliss? And this is that separation from guys who are playing at your level, as opposed to some 16-year-old trying to get, to college or whatever it may be. So talk us through that, man, because I have a lot of kids who watch the show as well, and they're like, hey, man, like when this happens and you mess up somehow, like, what is going through your head those next 45 to seconds to a minute?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I obviously I wish I would have got the buns down. That was my first job.
Yeah.
First and foremost was to get the runner over. But it's baseball. Stuff sometimes just doesn't happen. I think we all know that if you play this game a long time, it just doesn't. Baseball is hard. So don't get the bunts down. You gotta flip the switch immediately. All right, what could I do to help this team? What's my job? What is the game asking? I think a pass ball. Guy got the third, so it flipped automatically. Instead of getting this runner over, just get this runner in, however that looks. And I couldn't think about the 0-2 because I still have to get this job done. Like the job's not finished. There's no way. I think if I'm 0-2 and I'm still mad about getting these bunts down, and like I pressure and think I have to, I got to swing at this next pitch and get it done. I think that bat goes somewhere else. But just knowing that's done, you just got to take care of what the game is asking you. I think that can help, guys slow the game down, understand what you're doing, what you need to do, what this guy is trying to get you to do or not to do. All that happens, which, like you said, within that 18 seconds that you have in between pitches. It's just learning how to go to the next thing and just do what the team asking, what the game is asking for you.
Yeah, no, man. I like I said, I know it's like you're so fresh in your career, but day number 2 in the big leagues, and like I said, you've faced good pitching, but you've got a guy who's like, you know what, I got you 2. There's 5 different ways I can get you to chase right here, and that with Ryan Presley. So it was super impressive, dude. And then after the game, man, like Josh Rojas was right after the game, and he deflected any kind of attention on him or any praise on him and went straight to that at bat. So I don't know if you know that or not, but if players come up to you after the game, do some of the veterans, after a game like that or an at bat like that, is there any interaction with veterans in regards to what they, the conversations you have with older players?
Yeah, for sure. We got a really good group of guys. All the vets came up and just said, "Hey, guys, that was a big at bat. That was a sick at bat, big at bat. You kept the line moving." And it's funny that you said Josh deferred. I'm deferring everything because that was a big at bat by Josh to get that tying run home. So it was, like I said, it's a team game. And that's what it calls. Pass the baton down is what we say. It was pretty cool seeing the vets come up and saying, hey, big at bat, great at bat. It gives just knowing that you can help the team, and I was there to help the team. It felt really good.
Who's had the biggest influence on you in that clubhouse, in your short time, or even in spring training? Like, who's the guy who you're like, man, like you have to not learnt a lot, but just rubbed off in a good way?
Yeah, off the bat, JP.
Okay.
JP, he's the man. Even coming to spring, just as far as just me watching him day to day, how he goes about he's one of the best at what he does. He just go about his day as a professional, as an everyday shortstop, seeing how he preps, seeing how he goes about. That's been great to me to watch, asking him questions, talking to him. I would say JP's been good. All the guys have been really good. Josh Rojas has been good to me, talking to me about the mental side of the game, helping me with, understanding baseball at a deeper level. So, those 2 guys have been good, and everybody collectively has been really good to me. So I've been happy.
Is the relationship with JP, is that something that coaches say, all right, hey JP, look, we've got Ryan here at spring training, introduce you guys, can you help him out? Or do the coaches say that, hey Ryan, hey, make sure you step up here and go hang out with JP? Or is it something where JP comes to you? How does that work, like in spring training? Or do you go seek that out yourself?
Yeah, I think it's just to each his own.
Yeah.
I think that's just part of learning too. One thing too, you can't be afraid to ask questions or ask or you can't be afraid to learn. I think that's one thing I've seen is, as soon as I got there, I started asking questions, started just observing myself. Hey, why do you do that? What does that do? What do you have on this? Why does your ball do this and my ball do this? How do you do this and I can't do that? I just straight up ask. I think, I'm not sure, but I don't think that it's in said stone, like, hey, take care of this guy. I think it's
Yeah.
most of it's natural, and just wanting to go and get that help or seek the wisdom of the guidance. So I think that's part of it.
But some of the veteran guys, man, they don't want to do that. From what I heard, speaking to the Astros, you're just playing them, but Hunter Brown really looked up to Justin Verlander. Now I've heard, I don't want to name names here, but he really looked up to him, like that was his guy. And then all of a sudden, Verlander gets traded back over from the Mets. And I'm thinking to myself, man, this is a great match. And I even was on High Heat on MLB Network at the beginning of the season saying that Hunter Brown's going to have a breakout year because he's going to be on the top step of the dugout next to someone who he looks up as a mentor. Then come to find out, the Astros are in town. I'm like, well, that's kind of like Verlander's like, hey, I need to take care of myself here. And I get it, man. Like when you're a veteran player, I get it. Or it's just like, hey, like I'm not in a position right now to help out, because I've had some dudes, like even when I was playing, like some guys who naturally just came up and helped me and their kind of energy rubbed off me in the right way. But there was some other guys I tried to seek out, and they're just like, got the cold shoulder. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. I think I've heard stories. I think you can get the gist of what some guys are about once you ask. But I'm just glad I don't have to. I feel like I don't have to worry about that over here with the Mariners. Everybody is
awesome.
all open hands, all open arms. It's like I said, it's a really good group over here. So I'm very happy.
Were you going back to the trade when you came over from the D-backs? Were you shocked when you were traded? Was it a big surprise to you?
Yeah. I mean, one, not because it's just I've never gotten traded before. In college, I was at the same college. I'd never been to another team in the middle of my career like that. So it was a big change for me. Yes, I was surprised just because I didn't know. I didn't think I heard my name circulating anywhere. I just, I was playing well with the D-backs, so I just didn't know. But yes, I was very much surprised. A good surprise, and it's been good to me so far.
Yeah, no, it's super cool, dude. I got to say, you mentioned playing well with the D-backs. 2023, I was looking at your AA numbers. You had, 360, 12 bombs? What was it like going into that year, that into 2023? Like, was there something you changed in the off season, or you're like, you know what, man, like, was it someone you were around, or I mean, what do you feel like made you go off in 2023?
Yeah. So in 2022 was my first full season. I did not have the year that I wanted to have. It was a pretty rough year for me. I got away from myself. Like I just didn't feel like the player that I knew I was, the player that I was when I got drafted. So I basically went to the off season. I didn't make any real big swing mechanic changes. I didn't. What I did was I worked on my mental and my understanding of the game, and I understood that I was athletic enough. My game was I knew I could play. I knew I could play at this level. Obviously, the team wanted me. I think this had to be sharpened. So I spent the whole offseason sharpening my mind, reading books, understanding my approach, finding my identity, finding who I was as a player, and just trying to really push focus on those and not focus on something I wasn't. So I really just got back to myself. I try to keep things simple, worked on my mental, and 2023 was a good season.
What books are we talking?
So I read a couple books. Relentless by Tim Grover. That was a good one. The Secret. I think everybody should read The Secret. I think that's a really good book.
I'm with you, man. Like,
yeah.
My
to
mom
this
was
day,
like,
I've read it.
Well, I'm glad. Hey, listen. First of all, I'm glad you can admit that, because I remember my mom's like, "Hey, you got to read this book. Got to read this book." I'm like, "Yeah, well, whatever. That's lame. I don't need that." I'm too big time for that.
I think everybody should read this book. I'm just saying, if you want. But that book was something that opened my eyes, and it really. I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed the book. I really enjoyed the book.
Yeah, and it's super easy to read. I mean, this is ages ago when I read that, but it just kind of gives you that narrow vision of just like, nope, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to make this happen.
Yeah, it's clear-minded. So yeah, I think everybody, if you haven't read that book, I advise you to go at least give it a try. Give it a try and really read the book and give it a chance.
All right, kids, adults, doesn't matter what age.
Doesn't matter. You can be a toddler.
Hey, by the way, admit it too, mate. Are we talking the audio book here while you're driving, or are we talking?
See, I can't do the audiobook. I'm actually a reader. If I read the audiobook, I'll fall asleep on it. If I listen to the audiobook, I'll fall asleep on it.
Yeah. Listen, I will admit, like, I'm like, oh, I read this book. I'm like, book, because I'm driving. Like, that's my excuse.
I can't do audiobooks. I can't.
Oh man, dude, that's so good to hear, man, because. Oh, like it's so tough. Like you come out, you're a high round draft pick. You come out of a place like Auburn. It's like everything's smooth sailing, and then all of a sudden, man, it hits you. Like it hits everyone.
It's crazy too, because I remember in like the orientations when you get drafted. I think you remember you get there you're in low A rookie ball, and they kept saying, "No, baseball's gonna hit you in the mouth. Baseball's gonna hit you in the mouth." I'm like, "No, man, this. I've been cool my whole life. It's never hit me in the mouth, and it hit me hard my first season.
Oh yeah.
And I think I needed that in a way, and I think I just came out stronger. I think I became out a different baseball player that next season. I just saw the game differently. I had a different respect for the game. I had a different love for the game, a deeper love for the game, and I embraced the struggle. I embraced it, and it's just one thing that I think that you just got to learn as a baseball player. It's going to happen. It's going to happen again, and that's the thing.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. You know what? I will say this. Couple things. First of all, I signed for like 30 G's, and they like misspelled my name when I came into camp. So I wasn't like you. You're a high round pick, and they're probably like, here, Ryan, this, welcome. You get the red carpet. But I will say, and people say, oh man, it must have been tough if you didn't sign for a whole lot of money. I was like, it's kind of advantageous because you get to like A-ball. And you're around a bunch of studs, and I'm already sort of prepped to be like, oh man, I'm gonna have to just fight my way out of this. But some dudes, man, I played with some guys who signed for a ton of money, and they just could not figure it out. Like they couldn't figure it out because little league, high school, college, studs, ton of cash. They've been told, hey, look, they're not going to do anything with you because you've signed for a bunch of money. You're a big investment. You're a big priority this, priority that. And 4 years in, man, and it's like they're sitting there going, well, what happened?
This game is hard, man. I've seen it. Like you said, I've seen that. I've seen that exact thing happen. It's just guys, it's a tough game. I think guys, people don't realize that. Yeah, this is we what we do is hard, is physically, but half and most of the battle is up here.
Oh,
I think that's like you said, 70% mental, 30% physical. I truly believe that. I think if find a way to sharpen that and really get right with yourself and understanding yourself, I think you would see a different outlook of the game.
Yeah, well, talking to you today, I've heard you speak before, man. It sounds like you got no issues whatsoever, but it's just amazing how it can hit some dudes like an absolute ton of bricks. Hey, I want to go to your call-up story, man. Nothing better when you hear a rock-solid call-up story. Your parents are about to fly home, but they've been hanging out for a week or something in Tacoma. Is that right?
Yeah, it was Memorial Day weekend. So they came up just for the weekend, weekend, and was gonna go home. After the game, my girlfriend and I were about to take my parents to the airport for the red eye back to Atlanta.
The red eye, ugh.
Yeah, for the red eye. And Skip called me. John Russell called me into the office, the manager in Tacoma, and said, "Hey, you won't be making the flight to SAC because you're making a team." So. Called up everyone real quick. We all met back at the front of the gate, and then made our way up to Seattle. It was pretty cool and pretty awesome that they were still there.
Did John Russell? I've never met John Russell. Was he animated? Did he do a fun trick you story
No.
or nothing?
If you know John Russell, if you know him, if you ever played for him, you can very much picture he's. Come in, Rhino, you're going to the bigs. That's how he is.
Really?
Give me a big hug. That's just how he is. He's awesome. Awesome guy, awesome manager. But there was definitely no loud voices. It was just very, very, very cool moment.
When Polanco went on the aisle, did you know he was on the aisle before you got the call?
No, I didn't even know he got hurt. Nobody did. I was a day game in Tacoma. I was just treating it like a regular game, so I just went out there, was playing.
Gotcha.
I didn't even know. I had no idea. Just playing a regular game, and after the game, I get the call, so that made it feel a little bit better too.
Because you know what the worst is in Tacoma, because I was in Tacoma when I made my debut. Right? Oh, and actually, no, take that back. I was in, where was I? Round Rock, I think I was when I found I was going to the big leagues. But when you're in Tacoma, the problem is like you get all the Mariner games, so they're always playing. I don't know if they're always playing when you guys are down there, but like someone will get taken off the field, and all of a sudden, man, in the dugout, everyone's like, oh, hey, did you see? Or who's going up? Everyone plays GM for a good hour and a half. And then all of a sudden they make some movie like, oh, I wasn't expecting that.
It wasn't even close. Yeah, I tried. That is one I tried my very best not to play GM. So like if I hear something, your chatter, I just close my ear and just go on. So it may have been talking to the dugout. I had no idea. I was just trying to focus on doing my best for this game.
Oh man, it's especially around like trade time too, when guys like, oh dude, you're gonna get traded, and then it's completely nothing.
It's somebody that we weren't even thinking about. I've seen it too many times.
Oh, the worst is I remember being back in like A-ball, and then like the team will bring in like 6 friggin' A-ball guys for one play. They're like, oh man, we're screwed now. All right. So he lets you know, you go outside, and did your parents? I mean, did your parents have an idea because like someone's like, hey, go see the manager and all that, or were they just in shock?
Everybody was just in shock. I didn't tell them. I just said meet me by the front entrance gate. So I didn't give them. Gotcha. I didn't really tell them. Then I just said, hey, meet me by the front entrance gate before I come outside or something like that. So I kind of had an element of surprise to it.
Gotcha. And that was a Sunday, right?
It was a Sunday. Yes, it was a Sunday.
Okay. And then Monday was first game. What was that?
Monday was the debut at home. Yes, against the Astros. Yes.
That's right. Tell me, dude, what was that drive up the I-5 like? Like, you could have been stuck in gridlock traffic and you got a giant smile on your face, right?
Oh, I wouldn't have cared. I would have gotten out the car and just sat on the hood waiting on the car. I would have stayed there all night. That drive was cool, especially I remember it was a beautiful day in the Seattle area, right. Which was, it probably rained the night before. So it was just, everything seemed like it was perfect because it wasn't rain in Seattle. We had no traffic coming up the 5 towards the city. And I think if people know that little turn right before you get to the city coming from south on the 5, It was beautiful. The city was lit up. Nice. It was like a commercial, like a movie. The city was there. It was perfect. I just smiled the whole way.
Were you with your parents? Were they in the car?
Yes. Yes, parents, girlfriend, everybody on the way to the city. Man. It was sick.
Oh, I love it. So good, man. Hey, by the way, not to bring this up, but look, making that drive, because I was living in Tacoma when I got called up. It was like halfway through the year. This is back when dinosaurs roamed the earth. This is back before there's a freeway. This is like horse and cart and dirt, right? No, but I remember like that drive. I didn't care if there was traffic. I'm like, I'm going to the big leagues every day. I didn't care. Now I will say this: I have lived up there in Seattle. Like I'm on the team and whatever, and then been optioned down. And that drive back to Tacoma,
probably not as good. It's probably not as good going south. That's why I'm going to stay south and just drive north. That's probably what I'll do.
100%. Yeah.
It makes me feel a little better.
Yeah. I didn't mean to bring that up. But all right, listen, I want to do this thing now. Chat GPT. Do you mess with Chat GPT ever?
I've heard of it. Yes, I've heard of it.
Okay. Well, here we go. So, ChatGPT, now AI is going to run the world apparently. That's the way things are going. It scares the crap out of me. However, ChatGPT, I like to ask it silly questions all the time, all right?
Okay.
But this one, just because I don't know you that well, I'm not going to get crazy here and ask it to do some AI image. We are going to do this. I asked ChatGPT, I said, all right, AI, robot, I said, give me the craziest fact about Ryan Bliss. The craziest fact about Ryan Bliss is his exceptional performance during his sophomore year at Auburn University. Despite the challenges posed by COVID-19 in the shortened 2020 season, Bliss posted an impressive 377 batting average. Is this true? Or is
that is true. That is true.
All right, give me the craziest fact. You can beat that. That should be pretty easy. You should be able to beat ChatGPT. What's a crazy fact about Ryan Bliss that no one knows? Or just something that no one knows about?
Oh, crazy fact. Baseball related or anything?
Anything, dude. Anything. So the fans know the real Ryan Bliss besides what they see on the field. I can give you your whole scouting report here, by the way. So we'd have to
we'll go off the field. In high school, I was actually voted senior class president.
Wow.
So yeah, we'll go with that one.
Okay, I grew up in Australia, right? So I think we had the school captain and the prefects. But what's the criteria for being the class president? What do you need to have?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, you honestly you gotta get voted in. It's almost like a presidential election. So I put a bunch of posters up.
Really?
Yeah, I told him that I could. I think I would. I think I have to do the 10-year anniversary maybe. I think I have to get to coordinate that. So I said 10 years. I could probably do that. I don't know. At the time, I didn't know. Yeah,
Oh,
I
so
didn't know.
you're promising way in the future.
No, I told you. Yeah, yeah. Just like
Wow.
presidents. Just like presidents.
Was it was it a vending machine in the cafeteria, that type of thing, or what were you promising to be if you were the class president or the school? What were you promising? What were some of the biggest promises you had?
I can't remember. I'm sure it was just you're just gonna have fun as me as your class president. I don't know.
So
Uh,
basically, what you're trying to tell me is this is like a little backdoor brag. You're basically saying super popular kid in school, and everyone thought you were awesome, and it was just a popularity contest. Is that what
Pretty
you're telling
much,
me?
yeah. I don't remember the requirements. I don't think our at least our school didn't have. We didn't really have any jobs as a class president. But I always thought it was cool that I got voted for that.
The class president, President Bliss. I like it. Very
Yep.
cool. That's a great fact. Now, because you're playing along here, we're going to keep you for the How to Speak Australian segment. Now, have you ever been to Australia? You ever met anyone from Australia? And you ever played with an Australian?
I don't think so. I
Oh,
mean,
shit.
yeah, I don't think so.
Because your teammate Taylor still say that he was on here. What was it, last 2 weeks ago? And I'm giving him the word, and he's like, "Dude, I lived in Australia for 3 months." I was like, "What?"
What?
So yeah, he played Winnable down there. So I was
Okay,
like, "Oh
yeah.
man, he's going to kill this," but he didn't get the word. Actually, I gave him a tough one. This is an easier one. All right, so we'll see. All right, so we've got the How to Speak Australian segment brought to you by the Kangaroo and Kiwi Aussie Pub in Ballard. Ryan Bliss, if you're hanging out in Seattle a lot, I'm telling you right now, I know you're driving from Tacoma. I don't know if you're going to move up to Seattle at some point, but you got to go to the Kangaroo and Kiwi. It's an Aussie pub.
Okay.
It's awesome. That's where I go when I want to have a beer with my mates. So the How to Speak Australian segment brought to you by Kangaroo and Kiwi. The word, I'm going to give you a word. I'll give you a sentence. You have to tell me what that word means. Are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, the word is tucker. It's spelt Tucker. And do you know what that means before I give you a sentence?
No, no.
Tucker. All right. I'm going to give you a sentence. This might give it away. I'm going to try and make this sentence a little tougher for you. All right. Okay, I'm going to make it a little tougher. All right. Go. I've got a long day at work. What do you got for Tucker? What have you got for Tucker today?
Long day at work. It's got to be dinner or supper.
Dude, nailed it. It's lunch. It's food.
Food.
Congratulations. It's food.
Yes. Yes,
So
food.
Tucker. So Tucker bag, Tucker box is like a lunch box. Boom. Lunch. It's probably more lunch. I'm going to get ripped
More
for
lunch.
this.
That's fine.
I have messed these up before and given the wrong
You said
explanation.
after work, so that's why I was like dinner.
I said during
Context.
work. During work. by
During
the way.
work.
During work. Yeah. So
Sorry.
Tucker means food. Now, if you do want to play along, How to Speak Australian, put hashtag TTS mate. Now, Ryan's already beaten you to it, but you can go on social media at the Top Step TV, and you can just give me a silly explanation, and you get a chance to win some great giveaways, some game tickets, and some other stuff. Big thanks, Ryan Bliss, for joining us this week on the Top Step, dude. Awesome, man. I'm glad we've had a chance to chat, and I will come up and introduce myself in person at some point when you guys are back at home. I think playing the White Sox coming up here.
For sure.
So,
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you, Ryan.
awesome, man. Well, hey, listen, dude, kill it on the road. Keep doing your thing, man. It's fun to watch you.
I got you. Thank you.